Are you yanking my pizzle?
Welcome back to the channel. Today I just wanted to give some 5 early tips, well maybe more than 5, but general early tips that will help you with, the progressing and the quality of life at the very start of the game. So I hope this helps. Before I get into it though, I am giving away a copy of this game, so make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, tell me how excited out of 10 you are for this game. One of the earliest things you should look at doing is drying food and herbs. It makes them last longer, they won't spoil as quick. If you eat food when it's too low in its degradation, you get food poisoning, so you want to avoid that. And in general, at the start of the game, you're going to need a fair bit of food, so anything that you kill and hunt, all the meat that you get, you want to be drying it. All you need to do is go to a drying rack within a town and just put everything into it and you get it all back dried. But herbs are definitely important because they never ever degrade once you get them into the dry state, which then you can use for alchemy and potions and stuff. And all of these dry herbs can go on your horse, they can go into a chest ready for you for when you want to make potions. On top of that, also as well, a lot of NPCs have dry food and dry herbs available to steal. So if there is any way, shape or form you can rob the keys off them or rob the food directly off them, that is definitely worth doing, because it saves you then having to go pick everything up and then go to a drying rack. If you just need a quick here and there few ingredients for some potions, the best thing to do is steal them. Next up, you must remember to check your buffs. At the bottom there's a little health bar, stamina bar, etc, and then next to it buffs will pop up. Now when I first started the game, I kind of knew what some of them were without even really thinking about it, but then other ones would pop up and I'd just half acknowledge it and not realize what was going on. So if you go into your inventory and head over to the player section, you can actually check what buffs and debuffs you have on you right now, including any perks that you may pick up that are tied to something to do with being buffed. For instance, having the dog around you can give you charisma. They will all be listed here. Pretty obvious, but for about 3 hours into the game I didn't even realize the menu was there, so make sure you check it out. At the start of the game, you are going to need places to sleep, and one of the things I suggest anybody does is every inn that you arrive at, you can either purchase it for one night or purchase it for long periods of time, which essentially means forever. You get a permanent bed or room at that inn or some hay that you can lie on. It costs you usually about 50 groschen. So if you can spare that at the very start of the game, I suggest you do this, because then you don't have to worry about, where you're going to sleep. You know exactly how to get your energy back. And on top of that, you also get access in some of the inns to your shared chest. So the shared chest is your storage, so you will later on in the game get a whole bunch of weapons and armors, some herbs, some materials for blacksmithing. You can put it in one of these chests and then go to another town and pick it up there, so you don't have to carry it on you, you won't be encumbered, you don't have to put it on your horse and waste inventory space. But there isn't a shared chest at every single inn, but there is at the majority of them, so it's definitely worth having this chest available to you by buying a long-term inn room. And speaking of which, that DLC armor and weapons that you pre-ordered will come from one of these chests. Even if you buy the inn just for one night, you will still get access to the chest. That is also why I would suggest buying it permanently, so that that armor is available to you and you don't have to worry about it. You can run around and pick it up whenever you want. Definitely worth buying long term at inns. Next up, get a spade. So in this game there are a few side quests where you need a spade to dig up some graves. There's one very specific side quest where you'll be doing it multiple times, and having a spade is very useful. Now I'm certain there are places you can buy a spade, but you want to go and find a grave digger of some sort or a cemetery, because you'll be able to rob it from either the grave keeper or groundskeeper, whatever it's called, or steal it from the surrounding area if you see a spade lying around. This then, it's very light. You could just leave it in your inventory. Once I've robbed it once, I have never ever had to worry about it again. And in general in the world, there's a lot of points of interest which are grave based, which usually there's loot inside the grave, so it's up to you. If you want to dig them out, you can. Definitely worth having a spade on you at all times. Next up, you want to be looking out for beehives. Now, there's an upside and a downside here. If you want to cook, you want to hunt, you want to dry food, you want all that kind of experience, avoid honey at all costs. If you're not too fussed about that, honey is the quickest way to get your nourishment back, and it never degrades. It's easier to find than most animals to kill, and essentially around pretty much every settlement and main city, and sometimes just out in the wild, you will find these little grey wooden like objects. They are beehives. They're usually in a pack of like 5 or 6, and every single one of these has anywhere between 3 honey to 10 honey. Now, I have had probably about 50 honey throughout my entire game, because I take it, I use it, and then I find more beehives and take it again. Not only does it not spoil or degrade, it also is relatively light, so you don't have to worry too much about your inventory. And then it has a massive jump in nourishment. Most foods will give you anywhere between 5 to 20 nourishment. Some of the bigger enemies like wolves and that might give you a little bit more, but honey will instantly give you like 30 to 35 nourishment. So you just need to use 1 usually to get to 100 nourishment. So definitely worth looking out for honey if you're not too fussed about losing the aspect of the game where you hunt and get your own food. Next up, we have a bed, an early bed that you can use in Travaskovitz. If you did not want to pay for anything because you can't afford to pay for an in-room, in this area where you see me run to, there is a straw bed inside this hut. I have used this hundreds of times, and I think I've only ever been caught in it or kicked out of it maybe twice. So if you want an early bed where you don't have to worry about paying for stuff, this is a bed you can use to get your energy back. Or, you know, if it's midday and you just want to progress a few hours, just a very quick, easy bed to run to if you don't have a permanent bed in the inn. And last but not least, I don't have any footage of it, but there are so many books to be read in this game. They will just sometimes just be sitting around in someone's room on like a plinth, and you can just look at the book and read it. You only need to read the first page. You only really need to open it for you to be able to get the boost to charisma and speech and stuff. But you'll also find scribes in the majority of towns. So go to the scribes, and if you don't want to buy the books, you can steal it off them, and you'll get all these books available to you to be able to read and build up your charisma and speech. And that's the video. So I hope it helped. Let me know what you're thinking about this game so far. Do these tips help? Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.